I'm back! Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on my video. If you're new here, my name is Rachel and I just had a baby, but I am back. This video is going to be today's eyeshadow look using the Party and Puerto Rico palette from BH Cosmetics. This was given to me by another YouTuber and I was really excited to dip into all these fun orange tones. I'm also going to be talking about my birth experience. My child was born at home. I'll be showing you some pictures of her cute little self. If you're interested in seeing any of that, do stick around. If you've never been here before, I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom and I really like eyeshadow. So I upload several videos every week, all eyeshadow related. I hope that you'll consider liking and subscribing before you leave if you like what you see and you want to see more. Without further ado, let's get rolling with today's video. If you saw my recent video, which I can card above, talking about all the new palettes in my collection, you will know I'm excited about several of them. And honestly, I've had a lot of trouble deciding which one I want to play with. Today, the top contenders were the Lure palette from Blend Bunny or the Party in Puerto Rico palette from BH Cosmetics. And I decided to go with Party in Puerto Rico because I really love these orangey tones and I just wanted to do something that was very contrasting with my shirt today. So I'm going to prime my eyes using the Glam Light Eye Cream Primer and I'll get started. Alright, with a medium blending brush, I'm starting in the shade Laguna Grande. I might mispronounce some of these shadows. We'll see. And I have to say, I am so excited to be sitting on my little stool in front of my couch playing with eyeshadow again. I am 2 weeks postpartum. My beautiful little baby is sleeping upstairs, snuggled up in bed next to my husband. She was a stinker last night. She did not want to sleep, so she was awake, and my mother-in-law left this morning. She and my husband left the house at 4 a.m. to take her to the airport, so I had to be up with the baby because they needed to get up early. My mother-in-law is kind of a baby whisperer. She's had 9 children and is really good with kids. So, oh my goodness, her visit was such a blessing. I think her first day here, she's like, all right, Rachel, go take a nap. And when I came downstairs from taking a nap, she had done all of my housework. Like all the daily housework. She did all my laundry, dishes, vacuumed the floors. It was so nice. It was a blessing. And while she was here, she was helpful. She took care of the children. She never gave me a hard time about sleeping in or needing to take a nap or anything. She made memories with the kids. You know, she baked with my older daughter and she read lots of books to my toddler and she got tons of baby snuggles. And then about 2 days before she left, we had gone to a church event in the evening and she's like, I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna clean. I came back, she had deep cleaned all of our bathrooms, vacuumed everywhere, like under things, inside closets, all the little areas that you forget about. She had done some dusting. Again, the kitchen was totally clean, the table was clean, everything was clean, like clean, actually clean, not just tidied or put together. Everything was clean. We had a lot of downtime together. You know, we worked together on some sewing projects and I'm so grateful for her visit because she was a great blessing. I'm now going to deepen this with the shade Castillo. I've got a smaller and slightly denser blending brush and I'm going to put this at the outer corner. I'm not really sure where I want this look to go today. I think I want to do oranges on the lower lash line, but have the upper lid space be a little bit more like an orange leaning neutral. Kind of depends, I think, on what shimmer I pick up. But anyway, so I'm back. I'm back after baby. My little one is so beautiful. I'm going to show you guys some pictures. She's absolutely sweet. She sleeps, with the exception of last night, she sleeps very well. She's still within 2 weeks. You know, yesterday was her 2 weeks, so there's a lot of sleeping that happens in these early days, but she's great. She eats well. She latched right away with nursing, so that hasn't really been a problem for us. I've had some trouble with breastfeeding as far as getting the babies to have a really deep latch. The result of them not getting a deep latch is that you end up being quite sore, maybe cracked or bleeding, and it can be really, really unpleasant. And that's why a lot of women don't push through. They end up giving up on breastfeeding because it hurts so much in the beginning and it hurts a lot if your baby doesn't have a really good deep latch. I've had trouble getting my kids to have a deep latch. It has gotten better as we've stuck with it and persevered. She just seems perfect and healthy. Thank God. So grateful. I'm going to play in the lower lash line before I decide on what shimmers I want to use. I've got a smaller blending brush here. First, I'm going to grab the shade Condado and I'm going to put this on my inner corner. So let me tell you about the birth story because that might be what everybody is here to find out. She was born at home and she was born at 41 weeks, which was longer than I had ever gone with a pregnancy. Quite honestly, I was done. by like 38 weeks. And she didn't come, and she didn't come, and she didn't come. I was ready to be done. Look at this yellow, that's pretty. It's not like a super sunshiny, bright yellow, but it is very pigmented and nice. I'm carrying that a little bit in the lower lash line here. Then I'm going to move over and take the shade Culebra, which is the vibrant orange matte, and put that under the center area. So the way the birth story went was I started active labor. Like, I texted my midwife around 9 p.m. and I'm like, all right, I think this is it. Because we had a couple of dry runs, a few test labors, which was just my body getting ready for labor, but then never progressed, which was super annoying. Especially when you're expecting to go early and you're like, all right, this is it. And then it's not it. There was one time we actually took our daughters to a friend's house for an overnight, expecting that I would have a baby by the morning. No. But anyway, I texted my midwife around 9 p.m. and I said, all right, pretty sure I'm in labor now. This is regular. And she said, okay, well, let me know when you can't ignore it anymore. So I texted her again about 10. I was like, yeah, can't ignore it anymore. And she said, okay, let me know when you want me to head over. She's very chill. This is my third baby, and she's like, you know what to do, you know. So I'm going to take the same brush. I've color switched it. Now I'm going into Culebrita, which is the more vermilion orange, and I'm putting that in the outer corner. I think, oh yes, around 11 o'clock, my husband and I decided this is labor. Let's bring the girls back to our friend's house so that they can get a reasonably full night's sleep. We had to wake them up and put them back to bed. But also so that our friends would get a reasonably full night's sleep. So he brought the girls over, and as soon as he got back, I texted the midwife. I was like, okay, you should probably head over now. So she came over and she got me started with an IV because I was GBS positive again. So she started with antibiotics. And, you know, she got her stuff all set up. Well, my first two home birth experiences were tub or water births. And I didn't have that this time because I didn't have the room in our small townhome to set up a birthing pool. It wasn't going to happen. She set up most of her things upstairs in our bedroom. And when labor got really intense, it's like, okay, let's go upstairs. Most of it was just lying on my side, laboring, and then when it got really intense, my husband was across the bed from me and he was holding my hands, and every time I had a contraction, I would like just pull on him and lean backwards into the contraction. And the midwife told me later, she's like, there's always a moment that is just the funniest moment of the labor experience for her. She said, and that is when the woman is in full labor. It's as intense as it's gonna get, and she's holding the husband somehow, right? And she's like rolling with the contractions and listening to her body and completely immersed. And the husband gets this look on his face, like she's about to tear off my thumbs, or, oh my goodness, I didn't realize she was this strong, or whatever. And she said my husband had that look. My husband weighs probably, I mean, he's probably like 240 to 260 pounds. I don't know how much he weighs. He's a little heavier, but I was leaning on the bed. So he was holding my hands across the bed, and I was on the bed leaning into these contractions and pulling him. And I almost pulled him off the floor. I was pulling him across the bed. And the midwife is like, his face was perfect. Because there were some times where he could hear me sort of amping up with the contraction, like it's getting more intense, and then go. But there were a few times right at the end where there was no break. It was just go, 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 breathe, go, breathe. You know, if you've had a baby naturally, you know what I mean. And it was in one of those moments where I'm like, come on. And she said his face was very entertaining. I'm really liking all these colors right now. I wish I could deepen up the outer corner a little bit more. I can, of course. I have 30 eyeshadow palettes. I could go grab a deep color. I kind of want to stay in this palette, but Castillo is the darkest matte, really. And I don't think I want to grab Isla Verde, because it's the same depth as Castillo and it brings in a lot more pink. And I don't really want more pink. I want more orange. Or I could deepen this with a black. Actually, I've picked up my Amor y Mariposas palette from Melt because I know it's got a lot of deep mattes. I'm going to take this shade right here called Nueva Vida. And I'm going to just use the same like medium blending brush that I used for the other darker mattes. And I'll place this in the outer corner. I just want to bring in a little bit more depth without really changing the color scheme. This was my smoothest. And I don't necessarily want to say easiest, because it's childbirth. It's not easy. And natural childbirth at home with no medications or anything like that is not easy. However, when I compare it to my other two, it was definitely my smoothest, and I could comparatively say easiest. From like texting the midwife to having a babe in arms, it was 5 to 6 hours, which was significantly shorter than my others. Let me give you a quick recap. My oldest child was a 19-hour labor. My toddler, her labor was progressing much more quickly, but she ended up turned upside down or face up, and then she got stuck by having her head sort of cocked sideways in my pelvis. And so she wasn't physically able to progress down through the birth canal. So we ended up transferring to the hospital for her because my body was fighting her body and neither of us was going to win. Now, if you want to hear a lot more information about those, I can card above a video for you guys where I talk about birth stories in general. But like natural childbirth that's going the way it's supposed to was way less painful than your baby getting stuck. And what happened with her was my cervix got so swollen from her head pushing against it, but then not being able to go further, that my cervix actually started closing. So I went from 10 to 8. And that's a problem, you know, baby's not coming. But anyway, all of that to say, compared to my other two experiences, this labor and delivery were smooth. And to me, it was so satisfying because it felt like what I thought it was supposed to be. This is my expectation of childbirth, labor, delivery, home birth, and I'm so grateful that the Lord gave me that experience, especially after I had some anxiety going into this season of, okay, you're gonna have a baby any day. I had a little bit of PTSD from my last labor, and the Lord just gave me this beautiful, smooth experience. It was good. I mean, it was hard. It was a lot of work. It was intense, but it was good. It is time to choose my shimmers. And I think I definitely want to take the shade El Morro, which is an orange shimmer. So I'm going to lay that down first and then go from there. I'm going to put it on a flat brush and spray the brush. I think I'm going to put this shade in the center of the lid. I really want to play with several of the shimmers in this palette. And I actually want to play with some of the neutral shimmers, which is weird because I don't usually want to play with neutrals. But I think I'm going to put this El Morro right in the middle and just leave it there. Then I'm going to flip my brush and grab the shade La Fortaleza. I sprayed this as well, and I'm going to put this on the outer part of the shimmer to go into those darker mattes. Yeah, that's pretty. So the little one, she was born on March 1st. She's just perfect. She's beautiful. She's very strong. When my mother-in-law was holding her with her little head peering over my mother-in-law's shoulder, and I was like, she looks like a little meerkat. She's like, the big bright eyes looking around. I love it. But all my girls were like that. They all picked up their head right after being born and were like, oh, hello world. Interesting. Now I want to take this shade San Juan on the same brush. I'm going to take it dry because I'm curious. I'm just going to put it on the inner third of the lid space where I hadn't put anything else. It's not as light as I like to go, but I just wanted to play in all these shimmers. So anyway, everything went well. I'm so grateful. It was a good experience. My midwife was feeling relieved. She cracked me up because she said, you know, all the hundreds of births I've attended, and when we're in the heat of it and the woman is active labor, baby's crowning, about to come out, she says, I'm standing there looking and going, there's no way. It's not gonna fit. And she says, it's incredible because the way that the woman's body works and the way that the pelvis actually moves away and apart to allow the baby to pass through, and everything stretches, and it's just miraculous. It's amazing. And she totally cracked me up because she's like, I've thought hundreds of times that is not gonna fit. And she's only had a few women had to transfer, and even fewer who've had to have C-sections, and it's incredible. It's just incredible. I think this eye look is pretty. It's not quite as, it doesn't hold quite the contrast that I want it to hold between light and dark. I could, of course, bring in more depth in the outer corner. Maybe I'll grab a black. I'm going to finish up. I'll be right back and show you how it looks in the end and close out this video. All said and done, guys, I put on some mascara, and my waterline, I used this color from Uden's Eye. It's number 2. And on my lips, I'm wearing 2 different ColourPop products. First, I have the glowing lip in the shade Desert Aura, and then on top of that, I put a little bit of their lip oil in the shade Hot Spark. I love ColourPop lip oils, and I'm actually really enjoying these glowing lips as well. The formula is not too much like lipstick. It's a little bit more of a tinted lip balm or chapstick. It's smoother and adds more color. Not as much color as a lipstick, but more color than lip oils. Anyway, I like that. Here's the finished look. I think it's lovely. Let me finish telling you quickly. My mother-in-law, as I mentioned, was a huge blessing, and this morning she left. My mother is actually coming into town in 2 weeks. It's going to be lovely to see her. I'm so excited that she gets to come and spend time with her grandchildren, making memories together and doing stuff together. My oldest daughter is old enough to remember. My younger daughter is now getting to the point where she's recognizing people, and my mom gets to meet her new grandbaby. So I'm stoked to see her as well. And it's going to be, again, just a huge blessing to have her here. She's a really practical person. She's like, okay, how can I help? What can I do? I'm very much looking forward to her visit as well. I've got 2 weeks now between the mom's visits. I'm going to try to do some pre-filming, but I make no promises because still recovering from having a baby, and I'm just taking it easy, getting into the swing of things, getting used to life with 3 children, 2 under 2, lots of diapers, sleep schedule's a little bit weird. I'm just taking it as it comes. I do have some fun videos lined up. I've got a little collab with another YouTuber. I did a poll on my community tab about what palette you guys would like to see in my next week of series. Last time I checked, the Paletopoly palette was ahead, so if you're interested in voting, make sure you check my community tab. It's one of the most recent posts, and cast your vote. Thank you so much for being here today, for hanging out with me, for welcoming me back after having a baby. I hope you enjoyed the pictures. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the eye look. Remember to like and subscribe before you leave if you don't want to miss new content, and I'll see you guys again very soon in my next video. Bye!